Hey guys, welcome back to my Crocheting Granny Squares channel. This is a video with half a granny square. I'm going to make the half granny square, which is a super way to fill in those gaps when you are making sweaters or tops, like when you need a half granny square because the squares isn't quite adding up. So sometimes for example, on the sleeves, on the end of the sleeves, you need a half one, or on the shoulders, or in the neckline, or other places, you might need a half one, because that will make more sense when you are putting them together in a top or a sweater, or if you want to make, you can make a big one, a big half one, and use as the bottom half of the sweater. That's pretty cool. So I'm starting with 2 clusters of 3, like the half granny square. So that will make the half, and then I just continue upwards with the granny square stitch. I think it's kind of a hassle to use a new color on each row, so in the half ones I actually would recommend to just use 1 or 2 colors, but in this one I'm using a new color for each row, so that's a lot of work, I think. But I think that, I don't know, I rarely make solid colors on my squares, but I think maybe I should start doing that a little bit more. Well, when I'm doing the half ones, I am making, in the first double crochet, I'm making the first cluster, as you see here. The way I'm making this half square, I would recommend to have like a edge where all the ends are, all the yarn ends, because it will be a little weird, maybe, if you don't make, because it's all the ends and all the knots from the weaving in, and like it just makes sense to do a little edge. This one is going on my dress that I'm making, which the dress you can actually have a look at in the end of this video. So if you want to see how the finished dress is looking, you can just watch till the end of the video if you want. Anyways, on the dress I'm making, I'm doing white edges around every square anyways. So I'm doing the white edges as I crochet the square to the dress. And that's why I don't really care if the middle of the square, or not the middle, but the edge of this square is a little rough. So anyways, I'm going to make an edge there. If I was not going to make an edge, I would probably maybe do like, I don't know actually what I would do. Maybe I would do like an edge with just a single crochet over the edge part, because it will look a little strange. Or maybe I would do another solution as regarding to the yarn ends. Sometimes I just make things up as I go, so I don't know. Anyways, this dress I'm making of a lot of granny squares, I was actually finished doing the dress last year, but I never wore it. I have never worn it outside, So I was thinking maybe it wasn't finished because I didn't want to wear it. So I was going to fix a little bit on the neckline and make it a little bit longer. So when I was looking at it, I was like, oh, whoa, my sleeves are actually not finished. So that's why I'm making these half squares now, because these are going on the sleeve of this dress, which will have sleeves to the elbow. So it's not a sundress, it's like a really thick cotton dress. I don't actually know if I'm ever going to wear it in public, but because it feels like such a statement, if you know what I mean. It's like, whoa, that's a lot of colors, and whoa, that's a weird, cool dress. But so it's far from the stuff I usually wear. So I don't know if I'm ever going to have the courage to wear it outside, but I'm hoping, because it is pretty cool actually. And yeah, we'll see. I don't know. Now this weekend I have actually been finishing this dress, so now I feel like it's actually finished for real, maybe. So what I did was I made these half granny squares for the sleeves to make the sleeves straight, and then I crocheted a little bit in the neckline because I felt like the neckline was very big. So I made that smaller, so it's not like showing a lot of skin in the neck area. And I made more granny squares to make it a little bit longer. So now it's a dress to almost to the knees. No, to the yeah, no. And the end of the dress is, I have no half granny squares in the bottom of the dress, so it's like spikes from the granny squares, and I don't know if I like it or not, but it's like zigzag. It's like I don't know. You've seen the skirts where you make a huge round star, and it will be when you wear it, it's like spikes, or I don't really know the term for it in clothing. So yeah, I think I think we were just leaving it like that. So all these yarn ends, I'm making knots to secure the ends, but I don't really like having all these knots. I have to admit, I don't like that. But I'm also not trusting. The granny stitch is kind of loose. It's like a little. It's hard to secure the ends because you feel like the end will never be secure enough. I think that's what I feel like, anyways. But I'm also always sewing. I'm using a needle and sewing it, sewing the ends in to the stitches that have the same color, and then I'm cutting the thread. But it's always like a few centimeters of end sewing into the stitches. A little bit. So here is the dress. Yeah, here is the dress, and that's the sleeve with a straight edge because of the half granny square. And here's the one missing. I am making that now. Here it is. And here you also can see that I am going to make the white edge as I go along when I'm crocheting it to the dress. So that's what I'm going to do now. So when I'm going to crochet this on, I have to make sure to start at the right place, because it will be one row more, kind of. I don't really know if I was doing this correctly, but it looks fine, so then I'm just going along with that. I think mostly you can adjust as you go when you're crocheting, and that's kind of what I like. You don't, if you make a mistake, you can just correct it as you go. You don't always have to frog it, but sometimes I also do that. I have been frogging some of the squares, not the squares, but the way I'm crocheting it onto the dress. So, and on this one, I have been making a single crochet in the to the stitches like this, but I don't know if I like that way, actually. I like to do this way, like I like to crochet it on to each other with the granny stitches, and not like single crochet in every stitch, because I think that will be, sometimes I do that because it depends on how I want it to look after. So sometimes that's the best way, and sometimes it's better to sew it on, and sometimes I think this is the best way. But I also like if it's flat, when you're finished, it's supposed to be flat. So, yeah. I think I struggled a little bit with this sleeve, because I think, if I remember correctly, I think I maybe I think I maybe started this in the wrong stitch, maybe. Sorry, I'm watching and doing voiceover on this one, because it's easier when I have kids who are always talking, so I can do the video and then I can do the voiceover when my kids are not here. That's the best way, I think. So this one is a part of the. Oh no! I'm sorry. This one is not a part of the stash busting series I am making, but I have so much of the Paris yarn. The cotton yarn that you see here is Drops Paris, and then I have a huge container of this, like, I don't think I have every color, but I have a lot of colors, and I have a lot of, like, 2 or 3 yarn skeins of each color, and then the only thing I can make is granny squares, I think, because that's what makes more sense to do all the colors. Or maybe a hexagon cardigan or a sweater. I actually have a hexagon sweater I made of this yarn, that I thought it was finished, but I also didn't want to wear it, and now I am doing the sleeves a little different and a neckline a little different. That's obviously what I'm lacking when I'm finishing things. I'm always a little insecure about how to do this. How do I want it? Because usually I just make it up as I go. So I want to make a hexagon thing. So I start a hexagon, I crochet the hexagon bigger, and when I get to the point where I think it's big enough to fit my arm. I like, okay, this is fine. I do the other arm, start the hexagon and do the other arm. And then I measure on myself and I like, okay, maybe I just don't want the big arms, and I make this, and then I decide how big my arms are going to be when I'm like finished. And then I decide when I am going to crochet the parts together. That's when I decide what else, how it's going to be. So how is it going to be, a short one or a long one, or is it a sweater? That's the things I, and am I making a hoodie? A hoodie? I love the hoodies. And then, but I don't like to make them. So I decide as I go. I don't really have a plan always. I don't always have a plan. So yeah, that's why I always change things a little bit as I go. That's part of the fun, don't you think? Anyways, so here in the video you can see that I'm almost finished with crocheting on the half granny square onto the dress, but I'm struggling a little bit about the last part here, because to make it look good in the corners, I always struggle to like where to put the stitch to make it look the best. So I think I find, because the corners have to be crocheted together, and when you're crocheting together 3 corners, it's going to be a lot of yarn in the corners, and I don't want it too bulky. Just the corners is bulky. I don't want that. But I think I also am going to make, or I already did make edge here. So I'm doing another row of white after this in the end of this sleeve. So, and that's what smooths things over if I'm doing something a little bit wrong. But I don't think anything is wrong here. I'm just putting the stitches where I feel like it's going to make most sense. So if I put too many stitches, it will be too, well, not too straight, and then so you have to put the right amount of stitch clusters. Like the granny stitch is these 3 clusters, and then that's three stitches. And then if you do too many along the way here, it's going to be not as flat. So I also have not I have not been blocking all these squares because I think they will block themselves as they are just laying around, or if I'm hanging the dress up, they will just be straightened out as they are. I don't have to block them. But the wool, if you're using wool, I think maybe blocking is even more crucial to the final outcome. Yeah. Well, I'm just playing some music here instead of talking and yapping. So if you want to watch the whole thing, please do. And in the end of the video, I will show you the dress. Thank you. And here's the finished product. The dress. Yeah. So, thank you.